Hi there. Tax evasion affects every taxpayer in the UK. If you've seen something suspicious, you can report it anonymously. Today, I'll explain exactly how HMRC handles anonymous reports in 2026.
Have you ever had that feeling, that gut instinct that someone isn't quite playing by the rules with their taxes? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how you can report it, what actually happens next, and why it really matters to all of us. And all of this has been put together for you by the expert tax advisors at My Tax Accountant. You know exactly what I mean. It might be that local business that always seems to offer a pretty big discount if you pay in cash, no receipt, no questions asked. Or maybe it's a company that seems incredibly busy, but you just get this sense that their official books might not be telling the whole story. It's that little seed of doubt, isn't it? So why does that little seed of doubt matter so much? Let's start with a number. £31 billion. That is HMRC's latest forecast for the UK's tax gap for the 2025-26 tax year. And in plain English, that's the absolutely staggering difference between the tax that should have been collected and what actually ended up in the public purse. To really get your head around a number that big, just picture this. It's enough money to build and fully equip over 60 brand new, state-of-the-art hospitals. So you see, this isn't just a number on some government spreadsheet. It's a colossal amount of money missing from our NHS, our schools, and all the public services we rely on every single day. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll kick things off by digging into the scale of this problem. Then we'll walk you through the exact steps for making a report safely and, more importantly, how to make it effective. We'll also go behind the scenes of an HMRC investigation, and you might be surprised by the tech they're using. We'll look at the very real consequences of tax fraud, and we'll finish up with something crucial: getting your own house in order.
Right, that £31 billion gap, it has a real impact on every single one of us. It means less money for our healthcare, fewer resources in our schools, and just a bigger strain on our entire public infrastructure. And beyond that, it creates a deeply unfair system where the millions of us who do play by the rules end up carrying a heavier burden, while others get an unfair leg up.
Okay, so let's say you've seen something that just doesn't feel right. Let's get into the practical side of how to report it. And I really want to be crystal clear from the start. The whole process is designed to be straightforward and, most importantly, completely safe for you. So what exactly is HMRC looking for? Well, the net is incredibly wide. It could be something like a freelancer in London not declaring all their income from those side jobs. It might be a small cafe in Manchester deliberately underreporting its sales to pay less VAT. Or it could even be a company paying its staff cash in hand to dodge national insurance contributions. And that's the very money that funds our state pensions and the NHS.
Making a report is actually pretty simple. The easiest way is through the secure online form on the gov.uk website. But if you'd rather speak to an actual person, you can call the HMRC fraud hotline on 0800 788 887. Just so you know, that line is open Monday to Friday from 9 AM to 5 PM. And believe it or not, you can even go old school and send in a report by post.
Now, let's tackle the number one fear that stops people from coming forward: being found out. It's a totally valid worry, but you'll want to hear this part. HMRC is legally bound to protect your identity. Their entire intelligence system relies on information from the public, and they know that system would just fall apart without absolute confidentiality. The person you report will never be told it was you.
And if you're thinking about making a report, you are definitely not alone. In just one single financial year, the public submitted over 113,000 reports to HMRC. That just goes to show you that everyday people like us play such a vital role in keeping the system fair for everyone.
Right, so you've decided to report something. But how do you make sure it's taken seriously and actually gets acted on? Well, the key is all about the quality of the information you provide. A vague suspicion is one thing, but a detailed factual account, that's something else entirely.
Let's break this down. A weak report is all about hunches. It's something like, I think my neighbor is cheating on their tax. See, it's vague, it's based on a feeling. A strong report, on the other hand, is loaded with facts. The person's full name and address, their business details, specific dates you've noticed things, even vehicle registrations. It's this kind of clear, unemotional, concrete information that gives investigators a solid place to start.
So here's my tip for you. Stick to what you know, not what you think. Just provide the facts as you've seen or heard them without adding any emotion or guesswork. And for your own safety, please never try to find out more information yourself. Just report what you already know. Trust me, those credible, factual reports are always the most powerful.
So, you've done your part. You've gathered the facts and submitted your report. For you, the process is now over.
But for HMRC, this is just the beginning. Let's take a look behind the curtain and see what happens next, from those first initial checks to HMRC's most powerful digital weapon. Stay with me, because this is pretty fascinating. HMRC's biggest weapon isn't a huge team of inspectors. It's actually a supercomputer system called Connect. Think of it like a digital detective, constantly sifting through over 55 billion bits of data. We're talking bank records, land registry info, credit card transactions, and yep, even social media. It's looking for mismatches. For instance, if someone declares an income of £25,000 a year, but their Instagram is full of photos with a new sports car on a 5-star holiday, Connect flags that for a human to look into.
Now, if a report does lead to a formal investigation, it can take a few different forms. It might start as a simple compliance check, which is like a spot check on one specific part of a tax return. For more complex cases of avoidance, it can escalate to a full-blown civil investigation. And right at the top, for the most serious cases of suspected fraud, it becomes a criminal investigation, and that can lead to prison time.
Let's say the investigation is done, and HMRC finds that tax has been deliberately dodged. So what are the real-world consequences? Well, it's not always the dramatic courtroom scene you see on TV. The outcomes can range from some very heavy financial penalties to restrictions that can change your life.
The size of a penalty isn't just a random number. It's directly linked to your behavior. If it was a genuine, careless mistake, the penalty can be up to 30% of the tax you owe. If the action was deliberate, meaning you knew it was wrong, that jumps up to as high as 70%. But if it was both deliberate and you actively tried to hide it, the penalty can be up to 100% of the tax owed. You could end up paying back double what you tried to get away with.
And this catches a lot of people out. The consequences go way beyond just the money. HMRC can publicly name and shame deliberate tax dodgers online for the whole world to see. If you're a company director, a serious offense can get you banned from running a company for years. And if you're a professional like an accountant or a solicitor, you could lose your license to practice. It can literally be a career-ending moment.
Now, before we move on, let's just bust a common myth. You might have heard stories, probably from the US, about whistleblowers getting these huge cash rewards. That is simply not how it works here in the UK. There's no formal reward program. Reporting tax fraud in the UK is seen as a civic duty, something you do to help keep the system fair for everyone.
All this talk of investigations and penalties, it naturally brings up a really important point. While it's easy to focus on what other people might be doing, it's absolutely crucial to make sure your own affairs are perfectly in order. So let's talk about that now. So, just take a moment and ask yourself honestly, are you absolutely 100% certain that your own tax affairs are in perfect order? Is there any little bit of side income you might have forgotten about, or maybe an expense claim you weren't quite sure was allowed? Those small doubts can sometimes grow into really big problems. Because really, it all boils down to this. The single best way to avoid the stress and the cost of an HMRC investigation is to be completely on top of your own taxes. Keep good records, declare all your income, file on time, and just be honest. That right there is your ultimate protection. And if you have even the slightest doubt, it is always better to sort it out yourself before HMRC finds it for you. And that leads us to the final and maybe the most important point of all. If you do have any of those nagging doubts, or you just want the peace of mind that comes from knowing an expert has your back, then getting professional advice is the smartest move you can make. The team at My Tax Accountant offers completely confidential, expert help. Their contact details are right there on the screen for you. And for more clear, helpful discussions just like this one, make sure you subscribe to the My Tax Accountant YouTube channel.
And finally, just a quick disclaimer. The information we've discussed here is for general guidance only, and it's not a substitute for professional tax advice that's tailored to your specific situation. We always recommend you consult with an expert at My Tax Accountant before taking any action. Thanks so much for joining me.